Hit record here. All right, guys. So yeah, the topic for today is long form content and why every single, not just every single real estate agent, but every business owner, entrepreneur should use it for their marketing and their prospecting. Because in reality, it is the most effective way to prospect, albeit there is a longer time horizon that is associated with it. And this can primarily be done through YouTube, but you can take the content that you produce, you can repurpose it across all other platforms, you can cut it down. And again, like I'm a huge proponent of incorporating leverage and getting the most out of the intent and the actions that we do. And with YouTube, if you do it consistently, it really results in the best clients, the ones that are ready to buy and sell right away, and the ones that are excited to work with you. Almost every client that I've had come through long form content, the transactions have gone smooth. They're ultimately better people to work with because they're the most similar to you. They enjoy your content. They're a lot of the questions or objections that you have throughout the sale, or that they have throughout the sales process, have been addressed through your content. So typically things go a lot smoother, right? However, a lot of the biggest reservations that I see a lot of realtors have, especially in the beginning, is that they're not comfortable in front of the camera, or the process takes too long from scripting, shooting it, editing it, and then getting it live. And then ultimately to see the results from the efforts. And I want to make it very, very clear, it is a long-term play, right? Like most people don't see results from their long-form content for 6 to 12 months. Okay, but if it is done consistently, you're building a compounding asset that's going to continue serving you without you having to work for it. Okay. So in terms of why it's necessary, right? First and foremost, it establishes relationships through value. You're answering questions that people have in their heads, whether it's about your market, whether it's about the real estate market, whether it's about the processes or different communities and properties, right? You're essentially showing versus telling, right? A lot of the education gets done through showcasing different properties or different communities, or really just adding a visualization to the information that you're trying to convey. It's evergreen, right? And what evergreen means is that you create it once, and then it's out there prospecting for you 24/7, right? And when you have 50, 100 videos that are always out there prospecting for you, it really adds an additional leg of leverage in your business to bring in more and more clients. It very significantly increases your conversion rate. So one thing that we're a huge advocate of in our in our marketing efforts, we kind of tailor everything around something called the 7-hour rule. And essentially what the 7-hour rule is it takes the average prospect 7 hours of engagement with you, with your brand, with your business, in order to feel comfortable enough to make purchasing decisions. So what you're doing with all of your content is you're adding to that 7-hour rule before that prospect even converts with you. That's why a lot of the people that come through content, the transactions go a lot smoother. There's less objections, less questions that come up throughout the sales process, because you've been proactive in educating them beforehand that the majority of the legwork has already been done by the time that they get to. Whereas where you're dealing with a cold lead, there's a lot of nurturing that goes on. There's a lot of questions and objection handling throughout the process. Whereas if you have the videos that do that education, that do a lot of the sales for you, you end up dealing with a lot better clients and an increased conversion rate. Okay. It's also a form of one-to-many prospecting. So you create it once, and then you're getting in front of hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of people, all off of one piece of effort that you did. And then it ranks on SEO. So this is really, really important, especially for like relocation leads. So people moving out of your market into your market, when they're on Google searching for specific communities or specific information on the real estate market, the videos actually rank on Google and on YouTube when they do search up specific terms or keywords, okay? Now, in terms of the mindset to have with YouTube, right? Again, it is like you have to have the mindset or the expectation that you're going to do it for 12 months, but you still may not get results, right? But if you commit to publishing consistently, the results will inevitably come, but it has to be treated like a form of prospecting, because again, it is the most effective form of prospecting, but again, it's delayed gratification. So a lot of the times when we start working with agents, we focus on the means of generating now business, and that's all through like ads, through organic prospecting on like open houses and door knocking, and then we implement the content leg in order to, again, build those legs of the business that are going to start prospecting for you. But again, it's done over a longer time horizon, but it has to be worked into our schedule for our prospecting, right? So for me, like now we're producing content every single day, just because we see the value with it. But at the very minimum, we should be doing one piece of long form content per week, shooting for 2. Okay. Again, we're also developing leverage within our business through the one-to-many prospecting. So you're getting more out than what you put in. And that's essentially what leverage and one-to-many prospecting is. And your growth is going to be exponential, okay? Whereas, like, if you were to do your, your traditional means of prospecting, is going to be more linear. The exponential growth that you're going to see from your content production is going to be more clear, because you're going to have a slower start, but it's going to start taking off. And really, once you get that first video that takes off, and I'm talking like getting 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 views, that's where you really start to see, like, that's where the algorithms will start to push your videos further and further, because you're producing content that people are watching fully through, that are engaging with, that are asking questions with. And the key factor here, especially in the beginning, is volumization or more action, right? Because the more action you get, the more chances at bat essentially you get with the algorithm. And then all it takes is 1 or 2 to hit, and then it starts to compound after that, right? And again, I'm a big proponent of imperfect action over perfect inaction, especially in the beginning where you have lower viewers, with the reservation of it being imperfect or you being uncomfortable in front of the camera. That's the time to essentially stumble over your words, or to make mistakes, or make it look a little less polished, because less people are going to be viewing your content. And then perfection is really just the procrastination in disguise. I've talked to so many agents where they are stuck on getting the perfect camera gear and getting the perfect setup. And then after they get it, it just prolongs the procrastination, and they still don't get the pieces of content done. So again, guys, some of the best content producers, one of my mentors included, they shoot everything from their iPhone. So don't let perfection stump you from getting content out, right? Because again, yes, it does help, but the people are more inclined to receive the information. That's where they find value, and then they want to learn more about you and your personality, right? So in terms of how to succeed with long form content, again, consistency is the key, guys. Like now for us, we're going really ham on content. So we're producing 2, 3, 4 pieces of content per day. As it pertains to long form content, you should be doing 1 video per week minimum. 2 per week is the goal. And again, volumization versus optimization. This is such a big key, and you're always going to hear me hit on this. You really, in the beginning, to get out on the algorithms on these platforms, it's all about getting volume and finding the few videos that ultimately hit. Because once you find those videos that hit, then the algorithm continues to reward you. And then one of my first videos, this was probably 3-4 years ago, ended up getting 1.2 million views, and ended up bringing, I think it was close to 4,000 or 5,000 followers. And because of that, ever since then, like my view count is always up and is always growing, right? But you just never know which ones are going to hit. You have to let the market dictate. It's like running advertisements, right? But the more piece of content that you get out there, the more chances that you get. And then as you continue to produce, there's specific ways that you can optimize it. But if you don't have any content going out right now, it's all about the volume and getting it out there, okay? And then for your content topics, right, you want to focus, especially in the beginning, you want to focus on heavily searched video topics. So this is like real estate and market info. I know guys that do all of their long form content production specifically on market updates. What's going really, really well right now is like neighborhood and community tours, because those neighborhoods are never going anywhere. And it gives you more information, knowledge to help navigate those conversations when you do come across it with your clients. Market updates, again, do really, really well. And then anything buyer, seller focus, right? So buyer's guides, seller's guides, and then anything pertaining to the processes. And then vidIQ is a very, very important piece of software. Again, this is after you've optimized, or sorry, after you volumize and you start working towards the optimization process. There's, yeah, definitely use vidIQ. It's a software that allows you to write your descriptions that are SEO optimized, come up with titles, and it essentially is an all-in-one platform for optimizing your YouTube content. Now, in terms of the first videos to produce that we've seen work really well, first and foremost is like an introduction on you, your unique selling proposition, what you bring to the table, what separates you from other agents in your market. 9, 10 things you need to know about the city before moving. You want to do a community tour, pros and cons of living in your city, what price point gets you in your city. So usually I like to do at the benchmark price or a little bit above. Another community tour, the cost of living, and then a property tour. I've found that property tours are starting to get a little bit exhausted. What's really working well now are the community tours for both short form and long form content. Okay. So that is the training for today, guys. We will be going more in depth on the optimization process and getting all of this in check, and what we can do to start getting some long form content out there. But yeah, for now, let's we'll open it up for some questions, comments, and feedback. Nav, we'll start with you.
Sure. For the long form content, can you post the same video that you make on YouTube and Facebook, or is that a bad idea?
Yeah, usually what I do, because I always want to point people back to my YouTube, because if you think about it from like an SEO standpoint, the more people consume your YouTube, the more that you're going to keep, they're going to like your face is going to keep popping up on YouTube when they go back. And for me, I don't watch TV. I watch specifically YouTube. So like I'll put the video on YouTube and then I'll post it across all of my platforms. Like I'll post the YouTube link on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on my like my email database, on everything, because I want to point people back to my YouTube.
So you'll post the link, but you won't post a separate video on those other platforms.
No,
just a link.
no, because like we're trying to push everyone to YouTube, because you can retarget on YouTube. Yeah, it just helps with SEO, and the more people you drive to it, the more subscribers you get, and the more keeps pushing it out to more and more people.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So just so I'm clear, Mason, you shoot something on video, you won't do a short form on an Instagram reel or anything like that. You'll just say, follow me on whatever the YouTube channel is. Sorry, maybe I misunderstood that.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
If you were to make a YouTube video, you wouldn't post like snippets of that video as an Instagram reel. Let's say you would just put out a link to follow you on the channel, right?
So I've done both. The way that I do it now, like I used to do like little teasers for my YouTube videos and then in my story post a link to my YouTube. Now I literally post a picture of the thumbnail and then the link to the YouTube video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I thought I read somewhere, I'm not sure if you know this or if I misread, but like YouTube should almost be a little like kind of dealt with separately versus like Instagram, Facebook. And if you post the videos that are meant to be YouTube videos on your Instagram or Facebook, like it could mess up the algorithm. I don't know. Is there any like truth to that? Did I misunderstand that?
Yeah, so I would
Did I
never.
dream that?
Yeah, so because they serve different purposes, and I think what you're likely reading was like if you post the actual long form video on your Instagram, which you can do, but that's
Okay.
not the intent of the platform, right? So the whole thing with like Instagram Reels and TikTok is all short form. So what you could do is like again, like you post a link to the actual YouTube video, but you don't post the whole piece of content.
Got it. Okay.
Or
Okay.
and then what I see a lot of other people do as well is that they will just repurpose the piece of content, like the long form. They'll do like 4 or 5 snippets from that long form content and then repurpose it down to 60, 90-second pieces of content that they can bring down into the short form platforms.
Okay. Got it. The other question I have is, let's say you go down YouTube and you start doing content and you're doing it twice a week, 52 weeks goes by. Does it ever like there's got to be points where it doesn't work? Like maybe like you just don't have the face. You're not a likable face. I don't know what it is, but there's got to be something that like it, like is there a fear that you invest that time and energy and dollars spend for 52 weeks and it doesn't work?
But what's the alternative? Well, like everything can work with enough volume and everything won't work if it's done incorrectly, right? But what's the alternative?
I mean, I'm not questioning the alternative. I'm just questioning like, y- for instance, okay, like let's say this is almost a form of lead generation.
Mhm.
If I'm doing lead gen on my, internet leads, I spoke to someone today. I'm going to nurture them. I feel like I have some traction, like I've connected well.
Yep.
We had similarities, like like he texts me his girlfriends, he
Mhm.
might not transact for 12 to 18 months, but I got some momentum, right?
Yep.
When doing content on YouTube, like you don't get that momentum, so you don't necessarily you know if you're going in the right direction until that that maybe that 12-month mark, and you're like, okay, well, it's like that's I'm not pushing back. I'm just wondering, like, I can see a little bit of momentum in other forms of lead gen.
Yep.
What happens if it just doesn't work on the YouTube front?
Um, well, like I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that it might not work. Like you might just, I'm not saying you specifically, Julio. Like I've seen it. There's some people out there that create content that I would snooze.
Yeah.
And it's just because of the way that they convey it, right? But there's way to optimize, and this is where the optimization comes from as well. Because there's specific things that you can read and analyze, like with anything, right? If you were doing ads, you can analyze the CPL and the click-through rate and all that stuff. It's the same with YouTube, but
Yeah.
YouTube's all focused on the click-through rate, so like what your thumbnail looks like, and then the retention. So retention has to do with like engagement, with like the information that we're conveying and like how engaging the video is, right? And then yeah, and then the SEO. So where I've seen people fall short with YouTube is that they don't continuously read those metrics and continuously improve upon those, right? And
Okay, so
then
there is metrics so that like you can look at, like, let's say you commit yourself to a 12-month journey and you're month 2.
yep,
There are metrics to look at to say, okay, we're going in the right direction. click-through rate is this, you know, this is where we should be at the 2-month mark. Like, there are ways to know that you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it just at 2. Like, you're going to need at least 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's more, my question is more, there are things to look at, there are ways to optimize.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that
okay.
can all be done in YouTube's platform or in their like in vidIQ. vidIQ has a really good breakdown on that. But again, like the whole thing is volume, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't know. I see a lot of people, and this isn't just real estate agents, but they'll try for a month, and it is a lot of work. I'm not gonna tell anyone that it's not. But I enjoy doing that. I would much rather create content than go out and knock on doors or cold call people that usually don't like talking to me, right? Because just because I've seen the other side of it. I know what it results in and the types of clients that I deal with from it. So yeah, but again, it's all like it's a mindset shift, right? Because for you, you have something that's working really well with your with your paid leads, but you're looking at taking something new on with your content, and it could be 6 to 12 months before you see anything from it, right? And then in that 6 to 12 months, you're also going to be learning something completely new. You're going to be stumbling over it initially, right? Which is completely okay. But yeah, every high performing real estate agent, business owner, entrepreneur that's creating content on YouTube will tell you the exact same thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, great questions. Anything else you'd like to review, Julia?
No, and then I guess my other question would be like, and again, I keep going back to paid leads because that's what I know, right? So but let's say 12 months goes by, and then that's when based on what you've seen, that's when things start to kind of come together. Does it snowball like in such a way that like paid leads, like for instance, like after 12 months, if I I might not get anything, but then I'll get 3 or 4 things in the pipe, and then 2 or 3 things close, and then it's a snowball, and then like I can do that relatively consistently, let's say. Do you find that it's similar on the content side? Like it takes the 12 months, 18 months to get things going, and then once they're going, it's similar in the sense that it's like a snowball.
So it's twofold. So a couple of things, and then we'll dissect that. Number one, if you're going to decide that you're going to do it, I wouldn't put a timeline on it. I would just keep doing it because like there are multiple accounts, us included, that content works. And if you just continuously do it, if you continuously go into the mindset that you're going to improve upon it and you're going to get it done until you succeed from it, you will see success with it. I can say that with full confidence. So that's number one. Number two, yes, if you're going like apples to apples, the content starts to compound because you start getting more viewers. The algorithm rewards the consistency and the retention. Again, because again, going back to my optimization comment, the more that you produce and the more people stick around and actually read the content, the more YouTube rewards you and keeps pushing you out into more and more people, right? And then the third thing that I guarantee that you haven't thought of, and which is why we do it as well, is you have an existing database already, and every time you produce a piece of content, you want to share it out to them as well. So you're working towards that 7-hour rule for all the leads that you've generated through cold advertising, and now you're pushing them onto your YouTube content, right? And so now you're selling that cold database without like having to be on the phone with them. You're actually educating them, right? And that's where the real power is, right? Because you're getting the compounding effect from the consistency of your like your YouTube content, and that's growing. But as you start sharing it out to your database, they are going to see that, and they're going to eventually turn over as well. We got a lot of clients come to us from our YouTube content because we're just sharing it out every time that we send it through.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's twofold. Yeah, awesome. Well, guys, so moving forward, what are like, again, education is power, but it's only power if we put it into play. So what are we going to do this week in order to start moving things ahead here?
I'm going to be looking at getting some equipment to make videos.
I wouldn't even look into it. Yeah. Like, you
Okay.
have an iPhone?
Yeah, Apple. Oh, no, I got an Android, Galaxy, Samsung S20.
Perfect. Just start recording, man. That's
Okay.
all it takes. The most phones nowadays have better cameras than a lot of DSLRs anyways.
Great.
So my challenge to you, Nav, by the end of the week is to shoot an introduction video on who you are, what market you serve, and what sets you apart from the other agents in your market.
Okay. All right. Great.
Okay. Julia, what about you?
I came here. That's my step one. I'm talking to you a lot. That's my step two. Give me till July, and then I'm getting a new phone because I have a 6-year-old iPhone right now, and I don't want to give it up, but I probably should for that reason as well. So, but yeah, it's my summer project. It's gonna commence as my summer project.
Why wait?
Yes, mentally I have to. Mentally I have to, but I'm showing some steps forward, and you can continue to bug me.
All right, man. Okay, well, thanks for hopping in, everybody. We'll be back in the same place tomorrow for all things sales and conversions. Thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mason.
Bye-bye.